Chapter 49. Leo. The way Leo figured it, he spent more time crashing than he did flying. If there were a rewards card for frequent crashers, he'd be like double platinum level. He regained consciousness as he was free-falling through the clouds. He had a hazy memory of Coyote taunting him right before he got shot into the sky. He hadn't actually seen her, but he could never forget that Snow Witch's voice. He had no idea how long he'd been gaining altitude, but at some point he must have passed out from the cold and the lack of oxygen. Now he was on his way down, heading for his biggest crash ever. The clouds parted around him. He saw the glittering sea far, far below. No sign of the Argo II. No sign of any coastline, familiar or otherwise, except for the one tiny island at the horizon. Leo couldn't fly. He had a couple of minutes at most before he'd hit the water and go kersplat. He decided he didn't like that ending to the epic ballad of Leo. He was still clutching the Archimedes sphere, which didn't surprise him. Unconscious or not, he would never let go of his most valuable possession. With a little maneuvering, he managed to pull some duct tape from his tool belt and strap the sphere to his chest. That made him look like a low-budget Iron Man, but at least he had both hands free. He started to work, furiously tinkering with the sphere, pulling out anything he thought would help from his magic tool belt. A drop cloth, metal extenders, some string and grommets. Working while falling was almost impossible. The wind roared in his ears. It kept ripping tools, screws, and canvas out of his hands, but finally he constructed a makeshift frame. He popped open a hatch on the sphere, teased out 2 wires, and connected them to his crossbar. How long until he hit the water? Maybe a minute? He turned the sphere's control dial, and it whirled into action. More bronze wires shot from the orb, intuitively sensing what Leo needed. Cords laced up the canvas drop cloth. The frame began to expand on its own. Leo pulled out a can of kerosene and a rubber tube and lashed them onto the thirsty new engine that the orb was helping him assemble. Finally, he made himself a rope halter and shifted so that the X-frame was attached to his back. The sea got closer and closer, a glittering expanse of slap-you-in-the-face death. He yelled in defiance and punched the sphere's override switch. The engine coughed to life. The makeshift rotor turned. The canvas blades spun, but much too slowly. Leo's head was pointed straight down at the sea, maybe 30 seconds to impact. At least nobody's around, he thought bitterly, or I'd be a demigod joke forever. What was the last thing to go through Leo's mind, the Mediterranean? Suddenly the orb got warm against his chest. The blades turned faster, the engine coughed, and Leo tilted sideways, slicing through the air. Yes! He yelled. He'd successfully created the world's most dangerous personal helicopter. He shot toward the island in the distance, but he was still falling much too fast. The blades shuddered. The canvas screamed. The beach was only a few hundred yards away when the sphere turned lava hot, and the helicopter exploded, shooting flames in every direction. If he hadn't been immune to fire, Leo would have been charcoal. As it was, the mid-air explosion probably saved his life. The blast flung Leo sideways while the bulk of his flaming contraption smashed into the shore at full speed, with a massive kaboom. Leo opened his eyes, amazed to be alive. He was sitting in a bathtub-sized crater in the sand. A few yards away, a column of thick black smoke roiled into the sky from a much larger crater. The surrounding beach was peppered with smaller pieces of burning wreckage. My sphere! Leo patted his chest. The sphere wasn't there. His duct tape and rope halter had disintegrated. He struggled to his feet. None of his bones seemed broken, which was good, but mostly he was worried about his Archimedes sphere. If he destroyed his priceless artifact to make a flaming 30-second helicopter, he was going to track down that stupid snow goddess Coyote and smack her with a monkey wrench. He staggered across the beach, wondering why there weren't any tourists or hotels or boats in sight. The island seemed perfect for a resort, with blue water and soft white sand. Maybe it was uncharted. Do they still have uncharted islands in the world? Maybe Coyote had blasted him out of the Mediterranean altogether. For all he knew, he was in Bora Bora. The larger crater was about 8 feet deep. At the bottom, the helicopter blades were still trying to turn. The engine belched smoke. The rotor croaked like a stepped-on frog, but dang, pretty impressive for a rush job. The helicopter had apparently crashed onto something. The crater was littered with broken wooden furniture, shattered china plates, some half-melted pewter goblets, and burning linen napkins. Leo wasn't sure why all that fancy stuff had been on that beach, but at least it meant that this place was uninhabited after all. Finally, he spotted the Archimedes sphere, steaming and charred, but still intact, making unhappy clicking noises in the center of the wreckage. Sphere! He yelled. Come to Papa! He skidded to the bottom of the crater and snatched up the sphere. He collapsed, sat cross-legged, and cradled the device in his hands. The bronze surface was searing hot, but Leo didn't care. He was still in one piece, which meant he could still use it. Now, if he could just figure out where he was and how to get back to his friends. He was making a mental list of tools he might need when a girl's voice interrupted him. What are you doing? You blew up my dining table! Immediately, Leo thought, uh-oh. He'd met a lot of goddesses, but the girl glaring down on him from the edge of the crater actually looked like a goddess. She wore a sleeveless white Greek-style dress with a gold-braided belt. Her hair was long, straight, and a golden brown, almost the same cinnamon toast color as Hazel's, but the similarity to Hazel ended there. The girl's face was milky pale, with dark almond-shaped eyes and pouty lips. She looked maybe 15, about Leo's age. And sure, she was pretty, but with that angry expression on her face, she reminded Leo of every popular girl in school he'd ever attended. The ones who made fun of him, gossiped a lot, and thought they were so superior. Basically did everything they could to make his life miserable. Leo disliked her instantly. "Oh, I'm sorry," he said. "I just fell out of the sky. I constructed a helicopter in midair, burst into flames halfway down, crash-landed, and barely survived, but by all means, let's talk about your dining table." He snatched up a half-melted goblet. "Who puts a dining table on a beach where innocent demigods can crash into it? Who does that?" The girl clenched her fists. Leo was pretty sure she was going to march down to the crater and punch him in the face. Instead, she looked up at the sky. "Really?" she screamed at the empty blue. "You want to make my curse even worse? Zeus! Hephaestus! Hermes! Have you no shame?" Leo noticed that she just picked 3 gods to blame, and one of them was his dad. He didn't figure that was a good sign. "I doubt they're listening. You know, the whole split personality thing." "Show yourself!" the girl yelled at the sky, completely ignoring Leo. "It's not bad enough I'm exiled. It's not bad enough you take away the few good heroes I'm allowed to meet. You think it's funny to send me this charbald runt of a boy to ruin my tranquility? No, this is not funny. Take him back." "Hey, Sunshine," Leo said. "I'm right here, you know." She growled like a cornered animal. "Do not call me Sunshine. Get out of that hole and come with me now so I can get you off my island." "Well, since you asked so nicely." Leo didn't know what the crazy girl was so worked up about, but he didn't really care. If she could help him leave this island, that was totally fine by him. He clutched his charged sphere and climbed out of the crater. When he reached the top, the girl was already marching down the shoreline. He jogged to catch up. She gestured in disgust at the burning wreckage. "This was a pristine beach. Look at it now." "Yeah, my bad," Leo muttered. "I should have crashed on one of the other islands. Oh, wait, there aren't any." She snarled and kept walking along the edge of the water. Leo caught a whiff of cinnamon and maybe her perfume. Not that he cared. Her hair swayed down her back in a mesmerizing kind of way, which, of course, he didn't care about either. He scanned the sea. Just like he'd seen during his fall, there were no landmasses or ships all the way to the horizon. Looking inland, he saw grassy hills dotted with trees. A footpath wound through a grove of cedars. Leo wondered where it led, probably after the girl's secret lair, where she roasted her enemies so she could eat them at her dining table on the beach. He was so busy thinking about that, he didn't notice when the girl stopped. He ran into her. "Gah!" She turned and grabbed his arms to keep from falling in the surf. Her hands were strong, as though she worked with them for a living. Back at camp, the girls in the Hephaestus cabin had strong hands like that, but she didn't look like a Hephaestus kid. She glared at him, her dark almond eyes only a few inches from his. Her cinnamon smell reminded him of his abuela's apartment. Man, he hadn't thought about that place in years. The girl pushed him away. "All right, this spot is good. Now tell me you want to leave." "What?" Leo's brain was still kind of muddled from the crash landing. He wasn't sure he'd heard her right. "Do you want to leave?" she demanded. "Surely you've got somewhere to go." Yeah, my friends are in trouble. I need to go back to my ship and..." "Fine," she snapped. "Just say, I want to leave Ogygia." "Okay?" Leo wasn't sure why, but her tone kind of hurt, which was stupid, since he didn't care what this girl thought. I want to leave whatever you said." "Ogygia." The girl pronounced it slowly, as if Leo were 5 years old. "I want to leave Ogygia," he said. She exhaled, clearly relieved. "Good. In a moment, a magical raft will appear. It'll take you wherever you want to go." "Who are you?" She looked like she was about to answer, but stopped herself. "It doesn't matter. You'll be gone soon. You're obviously a mistake." Well, that was harsh, Leo thought. He'd spent enough time thinking he was a mistake. As a demigod, on this quest, and life in general, he didn't need a random crazy goddess reinforcing the idea. He remembered a Greek legend about a girl on an island. Maybe one of his friends had mentioned it. It didn't matter. As long as she left him alone and let him leave. Any moment now. The girl stared out at the water. No magical raft appeared. "Maybe he got stuck in traffic," Leo said. "This is wrong." She glared at the sky. "It's completely wrong." "So, plan B?" Leo asked. "You got a phone or..." "Ugh!" The girl turned and stormed inland. When she got to the footpath, she sprinted into a grove of trees and disappeared. "Okay," Leo said. "Or you could just run away." From his tool belt pouches, he pulled some rope and snap hook that fastened the Archimedes sphere to his belt. He looked down to sea. Still no magical raft. He could stand here and wait, but he was hungry, thirsty, and tired. He was banged up pretty bad from his fall. He didn't want to follow that crazy girl no matter how good she smelled. On the other hand, he had no place to go. The girl had a dining table, so she probably had food, and she seemed to find Leo's presence annoying. Annoying her is a plus. he decided. He followed her into the hills.